how the relations with New Delhi between Russia and China are also witnessing some changes. The Indian leadership is avoiding having a direct audience with the US after the India Pakistan conflict. Indian leadership is eager to engage more readily with Moscow and Beijing than with Washington.
I have a feeling that India will use the revival of RIC, to blackmail Trump.
Don't you think Washington would seriously doubt New Delhi's sincerity in in its will and capacity to contribute to the U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy?
India is in a state of schizophrenia. They cannot figure out if they are going to be leader of the global South, or they will be a proxy of the global North and play the spoiler in the Indo-Pacific. You cannot be over clever and over smart, because you will get busted. After the Pakistan-India conflict that ended on May 10, even Europeans and Americans are not too confident of India's position to be the bulwark against China.
The relations that New Delhi has had with all three major powers, US, China, and Russia, have undergone a significant change. And it seems that problems are deepening between Washington and New Delhi. With a new episode of our regular weekly program, The Weekend, I am Muhammad Ali.
And I am Murtaza Solangi.
Mr. Solangi, the last week was very interesting because we saw some major developments in terms of global, regional geopolitics. And as we have been discussing in the past few episodes, that after the recent South Asian intense conflict between two nuclear arch rivals, India and Pakistan, the nature of relations that Pakistan and India have had with major global powers have witnessed some significant changes. In the previous episodes, we have discussed how Pakistan's bilateral relations with the US have transformed in the last few weeks, and they have also undergone a significant change at the bilateral level between New Delhi and Washington. But today, what we are going to discuss is how the relations with New Delhi between Russia and China are also witnessing some changes. Are they changing, or this is just a misperception? And what is its global and regional significance is what we would like to discuss in tonight's show. So let me ask you first off that a recent news which has surfaced is very interesting. That the context, of course, is that it seems that Mr. Trump wants to mediate between India and Pakistan. He has repeatedly made this offer, and he invited Prime Minister Modi to visit him. But it seems that the Indian leadership is avoiding having a direct audience with the US after the India-Pakistan conflict. Whereas the Indian leadership is eager to engage more readily with Moscow and Beijing than with Washington. And we have witnessed a possible realignment of Russia, China, and India in this region. What is your take on that? And is there some reality and significance of this?
From Kremlin and Beijing's perspective, this initiation and posturing by Kremlin to revive RIC, Russia, India, China, three-group bloc, is an attempt to give a reality check to South Bloc in Delhi that the world is changing, times are changing, and the multipolar global order can't be pushed away. It's a reality. So if they have any second thoughts, if they want to get a dose of reality, then they should, go for that greater Eurasian security and triangular security between Pakistan, China, and India, are the indivisible security, what they have been saying. So they are giving India an opportunity to realize the current realities, to smell coffee. But I have a gut feeling that while China has also welcomed the revival, and India apparently seems willing to revive it, although it's an old group since 90s. Now we are in 2025. I have a feeling that India will use the revival of RIC to blackmail Trump and get more goodies from Washington, get more concessions. So if that's the case, then India will have the time of its entire history or life, for that matter, because the man across the aisle, Trump, is the biggest bargainer and deal maker. So if folks in South Bloc think that they would be able to blackmail US and get some concessions and try to ditch RIC as they have ditched before. Here it's on, here it's off. That attitude has no future. But there is a leverage with China and Russia also. And the leverage is that next year, the BRICS summit would be in India. And on 31st of August, there is SCO summit in China. So if you don't play ball with Russia and China, then the possibilities of a successful BRICS summit and the presidency of India is out the window. So Indians are in a state of fix. They have to understand that they cannot run with a hare and hunt with a hound.
Indeed, but let me ask you, in a different context, three dynamics are quite evident. But it seems strange why it was not noticed earlier in Washington. US core interest, definitely beyond party lines, is to delay the emergence of a multipolar world order and maintain its preeminence in the global geopolitical status quo, in which it saw India as a prospective major bulwark against the emergence of China. But when we see India more keen and eager to engage and cooperate in SCO and BRICS remain energy and security dependent for its nuclear program, for its energy needs, and also for its military needs on Moscow, far more than Washington, despite several overtures and offers from several US administration. And instead of trying to contain or challenge China, try to expand their bilateral economic cooperation and mend fences. Don't you think Washington would seriously doubt New Delhi's sincerity in its will and capacity to contribute to the U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy? And the recent mention of Asia Pacific and deleting the word of Indo-Pacific from the U.S. Official documents is an evidence of that changing thought process about the expectations that Washington has harbored towards New Delhi.
India is in a state of schizophrenia. They cannot figure out if they are going to be leader of the global south, or they will be a proxy of the global north and play the spoiler in the Indo-Pacific. At the same time, they see the emergence of a new global order. So they want to play footsie with Putin and Xi Jinping at the same time. But you cannot be over clever and over smart, because you will get busted. After the Pakistan-India conflict that ended on May 10, even Europeans and Americans are not too confident of India's position to be the bulwark against China. If you get a bloody nose from a much smaller neighbor, Pakistan, then what good are you? You have terrible relations with all your neighbors, not only Pakistan. You have bad relations with Bangladesh. You have bad relations with Sri Lanka, other neighbors, Nepal, Maldives. So, as much as India would want to believe, to make Washington believe that they are an asset, more and more voices in Washington and Europe would emerge that it's a liability.
You mentioned Europe, and I want you to expand on it. That is it a U.S. Own and sole perspective that doubts are emerging about New Delhi's sincerity to and commitment towards the unipolar world order or the free world and the Western civilization and their romantic narrative based on being the largest democracy. Because recently the NATO Secretary General also expressed some concerns and doubts about India. Can you elaborate on those, the nature and the purpose behind it?
The Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, actually warned both Delhi and Beijing that if you continue doing business with the Kremlin and buy oil and uranium and other things, you would be slapped with massive sanctions. And Indian Ministry of External Affairs actually responded back, and they told them that you have double standards and you are hypocrites. When you did business with Moscow and bought energy from there, how come you are lecturing us? So all is not well between Europe and Delhi as well, because Europeans main concern is in the strategic and security framework. Their challenge is Kremlin, and in the economic sense, their challenge is Beijing. So it's very difficult for Delhi. They are limping. They can't put their feet on the ground.
Notwithstanding geopolitics and security, another very important domain in which fissures seems to be emerging between New Delhi and Washington is a subject which is closest to Mr. Trump's heart, which is tariff. How do you see the state of affairs between New Delhi and Washington on the tariff issue?
So far, they are in a state of limbo. Trump has not announced the level of tariffs they would slap India. Americans want some access in agriculture and dairy, which they are quite reluctant. Indians are resisting that. So there is a possibility of a provisional, temporary kind of arrangement, but that's very flexible, and it has a lot to do with how Delhi deals with Moscow and Beijing. So when it comes to Mr. Trump, all bets are off.
Indeed. So I think it is quite clear based on your analysis that after the India-Pakistan recent conflict, the relations that New Delhi has had with all three major powers, US, China, and Russia, have undergone a significant change. And it seems that problems are deepening between Washington and New Delhi. And it seems New Delhi is avoiding US overtures and seems to be more keen on looking for alternatives. And I'm sure this trend and preference would not go unnoticed in Washington. But a different subject I want to analyze with you is an entity, the Resistance Front, which was recently proscribed by the US State Department. And India alleges that it has some links with, a non-Indian entity. I want you to elaborate what is the reality and what is the purpose behind proscribing it, and should Pakistan be worried about it?
No, I don't think Pakistan should be worried about it, because the move by US to proscribe or ban the Resistance Front, TRF, which has been touted as a proxy of banned Lashkar-e-Taiba. It's actually to console India after the massive embarrassment they had. No power, including US, stood with India when they conducted unilateral strikes against Pakistan. Everybody had words of sympathy for Pahalgam terror victims, but nobody had sympathy. Nobody gave a carte blanche or a license to India to attack Pakistan and threaten the global peace, since both are nuclear powers. So this is a little bit of some kind of a sweetener to India, that, oh, look, we have at least, this is some kind of a trophy. Oh, at least we got this from United States. When it comes to Pakistan, Pakistan has already banned Lashkar-e-Taiba. It's a proscribed organization. So it makes no difference. However, it opens up an opportunity for Pakistan to tell Americans, fine, you proscribed TRF, That's good. Well, there are other terror outfits that are killing Pakistanis day in and day out in Balochistan, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and those groups are known, including Majid Brigade, BLA, BLF. So let's go all the way. Let's be uh, anti-terrorist all the way, and ban those outfits also, because we can tell Americans that all those terrorist groups who are killing Pakistani civilians and soldiers are being paraded as heroes on mainstream Indian TV channels. We didn't bring in any TRF or any other RF on our TV screens. We didn't, parade them as heroes. But India has done this. So I think it opens up an opportunity, but it's more of a psychological move by India and US, that at least you give us something to brag about in India, that we are not too isolated. So that's the ploy.
But I want to ask you a follow up question, because there are two things which are beyond my understanding. One, that I think I recall that the relevant department of India, which is investigating the Pahalgam incident, have not yet finalized their investigations and its findings. So before convincing, transparent evidence can emerge, which India can share with Pakistan and international community, and the investigations are finalized. First, India decides to invade Pakistan before these investigations were finalized, before it could come up with verifiable evidence with international community. And secondly, they are still not finalized, and still they have not shared any evidence with the international community, which perhaps includes the US. Then how can a link be allegedly established with any third country, which includes Pakistan? And I think Pakistan would perhaps be more than willing to be part of any such independent international inquiry, which Pakistan's prime minister also offered.
I agree with you. And when it comes to common sense, it's very uncommon in Indian ruling class, South Bloc, and the policymakers.
That's very unfortunate. But thank you so much for joining again tonight, Mr. Solangi. And viewers, I hope you found today's program interesting and informative. So please don't forget to share your feedback and comments in the section below, and keep watching this space for more insightful analysis on the most important developments happening around the world and in this region. Thank you so much.
Thank you.